Hello. Welcome. Please come in, sit down, lie down, whatever makes you most comfortable. So, my name is Calliope. I'm going to be your sleep therapist tonight, and our session is mostly focused on nightmare prevention. Is that correct? Now, before we begin in all that, right after you get all settled, have a deep breath, calm your mind a bit, I'm going to be asking you a few questions, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing today, okay? Wonderful. So please get situated however you must, whatever position you want to be in, as you are going to be in this position for a while. Okay, I'm just going to get my clipboard, my papers ready real quick. Okay. I'll just give you just a little bit more to arrange yourself. Did you get in okay? I heard there was quite a bit of thunderstorms all over the region. Yeah, it's supposed to be done now, but we really got some wicked wind out there. Okay, now that you're all situated, so I'm going to be going through a few sleep lifestyle questions with you, just to get a better idea of what we can improve upon, what you're doing great now, and where we can go from here. So first, would you mind telling me about your normal sleep schedule? This could be approximately how many hours you get of sleep a night, what time you generally go to bed, what time you wake up, if you like to sleep in on the weekends, or if you have a job that gives you days off other than the weekends, if you like to oversleep then, perhaps if you like to take naps, anything of that nature would be wonderful. Okay, why don't we start with how many hours of sleep you usually get? Okay. Alrighty. What time do you usually go to bed at? Okay, but you do go to bed later on your days off? Okay, approximately how later? Okay. And what time do you generally wake up at? And this is fairly regular, or does it kind of go back and forth? Okay, so you are an insomniac, so it's a little subject to change, right? I know how that goes. Okay, now tell me about the quality of your sleep. I know you've said that you're an insomniac, but does that mean more that it's hard for you to fall asleep or stay asleep, perhaps? If you wake up frequently, takes you a long time to wind down, any of those? Okay. Okay. Do you tend to wake up a lot? Once in a while, okay. And overall, how would you say the quality of sleep is? Do you wake up feeling quite refreshed or quite groggy, perhaps? Okay, really depends on the day. Sure, that's most people. Okay, but the range, all right. Okay, so our session today is going to be focused on nightmare prevention, of course. So would you mind telling me approximately how many nightmares you generally get, or maybe how many days a week you generally wake up with nightmares? Okay. And do they tend to be extremely distressing or somewhat distressing on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least amount of distressing, 10 being extreme amounts of distress? How would you rate the bulk of those nightmares? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No, it's not fun whatsoever dealing with that. I know. I'm sorry, but hopefully we can get a little bit to the bottom of some of the causes and maybe hope to stave off some in the future. So now I'm going to ask you a few questions based on your actual lifestyle, if you don't mind. And these do have somewhat to do with, of course, your sleep pattern, but may also have some to do with your actual nightmares and dreams, how we interpret our days through our sleep. So tell me about your stress level currently. Are you quite stressed? Somewhat? Able to manage a couple stressful days here and there? Anything you can tell me? Okay. I'm going to scale from 1 to 10. 1 being the least amount of distress, and 10 being the most. Okay, so quite stressed. Okay, now you don't have to get into any details, but does it happen to be any specific thing that you're stressed out about? More just life in general, perhaps your job? More so, is it one thing or is it many things? Okay. Okay. As sort of a sub-question to that, you don't have to answer if you don't like to, but this is going to be completely between you and me, so this won't get passed anywhere else. But do you happen to have any mental illnesses at all? Any sort of depression, anxiety, psychotic disorders, personality disorders, PTSD, anything of the sort? Okay. Well, as we're well aware, mental illness tends to have a big impact upon, of course, our whole life in general, but especially our sleep, and in that, our dreams and nightmares. So we tend to get a lot more nightmares, a lot less quality sleep if one is perhaps depressed or anxious or has any sort of mood disorders, things of that nature. Okay. Now, what does your caffeine use look like day to day? Do you have a couple cups of coffee? Have a soda pop here and there? Cup of tea? Anything? Okay. Alright. Well, I'm not going to lecture you, but I'm just going to give you the bit of information that any caffeine use may have an impact on sleep, more so if you consume caffeine after the midday, let's say noon o'clock, and anything rather close to bedtime can keep you up or can make you quite jittery, anxious, paranoid even. I mean, if you're going to shotgun a couple of monsters in your car right before bed, your sleep may not be as good as if you just had a cup of coffee in the morning. But that's just a little bit of information. Do with it what you will. Now, again, I'm no narc. This is just between you and me. But what does your drug use look like? This could be anywhere from prescription, over-the-counter, vitamins, supplements, any sort of medication, or perhaps a little bit of the jazz cabbage, cocaine use. Please don't say methamphetamines. Please don't say amphetamines in general. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into the alcohol use in a separate question. So again, drugs do have a big impact on our lives as well, whether they are prescribed or not. For example, some drugs make it so that we can't sleep very well or that we're incredibly drowsy. And we have some more illicit drugs, at least currently, that are more psychoactive in nature. For example, marijuana, although it depends on the person, it tends to disrupt sleep quite a bit. So those who smoke a lot of weed might find that their quality of sleep is extremely lacking. I would know, not from experience, but from watching other people. Although really I don't like to partake in that particular activity because then I do not dream at all. Which I kind of like dreaming, so I don't really want to completely abstain from that. Let alone, the anxiety or paranoia that some people may face. However, it can make you feel quite relaxed, so you may not feel any of these symptoms whatsoever. With other drugs such as cocaine or amphetamines, we may see that your sleep is quite a bit more disrupted as well. So you do have to be kind of careful about what you're using. Of course, everything in moderation. I'm not here to judge, but they may affect your health in a way that you didn't necessarily know about. I will apologize for any noises that you may hear around the office here. I just kindly ask that if you do hear them, just kindly disregard them. They're not going to have anything to do with our relaxation here. So as far as alcohol use goes, alcohol again is said to be a depressant, but it does affect your sleep quite a bit. I know personally, if I drink within a few hours of going to sleep, I wake up as soon as the buzz or drunkenness wears off, which is not pleasant. But everybody's different, of course. So what does your alcohol use look like on a day-to-day or weekly basis? Okay. Alright, and one last question for you. Do you have any sleep rituals? Do you have any routines that you like to go with? Perhaps if you like to wash your face and just chill out beforehand. Maybe you watch videos before bed, listen to ASMR, or just have a little contemplative thought. Or on the flip side, maybe have an existential crisis or two. Have your whole life fall apart, but in your head, which I suppose could be lumped in with existential crisis. But do you have any sort of sleep practices that you employ on a night-to-night basis? Okay. playing video games before bed. I am very guilty of that as well. Although it is said that the blue light does affect our sleep as well from our phones and computers, so that may have a little part to play in insomnia or quality of sleep. So now that we've gone through our questionnaire here, I want to go through a bit of what exactly are nightmares and why we get them. So psychologists tend to distinguish nightmares from bad dreams, in that a nightmare is a dream that frightens you or distresses you so much that you end up waking up from it. And you may feel confused, disoriented, upset, sad, angry, fearful, any of these emotions. Whereas a bad dream, you don't wake up from. You just are distressed, and you may remember it, you may not, but you know that it certainly wasn't a good or neutral dream. Now, there are some possible causes of nightmares. One of them is going to be stress, of course. There is a few studies that were conducted that suggested that children's dreams are revolved around their day-to-day life, of course, so their nightmares are based on their stress levels. Children that are extremely stressed have many more nightmares than children who are not very stressed at all. Which, that seems kind of like, a duh kind of thing, but at the same time, it's more due to, kind of the stress level that almost you seem to create, but a little bit of your environment. Whereas with adults, it's a little different. So teenagers are said to have the most nightmares. Generally, as an adult, we don't usually get nightmares, supposedly, but of course many of us still do. So as far as the causes go, first we have stress, of course, but then there can also be different little oddball factors, like of course drug and alcohol use, or your environment when you go to sleep. So if your room is too hot or too cold, sometimes that can trigger a nightmare. If you're in pain, of course, you may have a nightmare as well. And another thing that may contribute to nightmares is eating heavily before bed. So that one's a little bit of a wacky one, but just to be on the safe side, I would advise no heavy meals a couple hours before bed. Really isn't a good idea anyway, but just to reiterate that might be a good way to help stave off a couple nightmares here and there. So we have a few different completely random sort of factors, such as the temperature of your room or eating before bed. But of course, stress is going to be our biggest factor in nightmares and the creation thereof nightmares. So, what I'm going to do for you today is first we're going to create a relaxing atmosphere. So, could you please tell me if the room is too hot or too cold? Feel okay? Do you need any blankets? Okay. Please feel free to tell me if you need anything. This is aimed to help relax you as much as possible. I'm going to light a very subtly scented candle for you. And this will also hopefully create a little bit of a relaxing environment as well. So we're going to do some deep breathing exercises. We're going to do a little bit of hypnotic induction, and we're going to be doing some affirmations to hopefully help prevent any nightmares that may be occurring tonight. Okay? Alright. So first I'm going to retrieve from this box a tool that I need for hypnotic induction. This is just a regular old pocket watch. Now, you may know stereotypically that early hypnotists may have used a pocket watch or perhaps a pendulum, maybe even their fingers, sliding side to side in order to induce hypnosis. We're going to do something quite similar to that. But first, we're going to begin with a little bit of deep breathing in order to help calm your mind and settle your body a bit. So as long as you're comfortable, I'd like you to just follow along with me. So we're going to have you breathe in deeply for the count of 3, hold for 3, and we're going to exhale for the count of 3, okay? Alright, please let me know if it's uncomfortable, if we need to change the timing a bit, but we're just going to do this to relax our mind a little, okay? Okay, I want you to inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Before we begin our induction, I'm going to get close to you a little bit. Just readjust myself here. Ooh. There we are. Okay, a little bit better. Alright. So, we're not going to completely empty your mind. We're not going to purge our thoughts. I just want you to lightly focus on my voice. If you get sidetracked or focus on something else, that's more than fine. You can always come back and retry. I don't want you to completely shut down any random thoughts. We're just going to let them flow quite freely and just let it be, okay? Alright. So I have this pocket watch here, and I'm going to hold it in front of you. I'm going to be swinging it like a pendulum, slowly back and forth. I want you to continue breathing deeply while also focusing on the rhythmic motion of the pocket watch, swinging from left to right. I want you to only focus on the pocket watch with your eyes and not your head moving. Just watch the pocket watch swing back and forth from left to right. I want you to keep watching this pocket watch with your eyes open, without blinking, until your eyes begin to feel very tired, very strained, like you really want to close them. Keep focusing on the pocket watch, even though your eyes are so tired. They may begin to water, they may feel a little bit of strain, but I want you to keep watching. Keep watching the pocket watch flow back and forth. And when you feel that your eyes cannot stay open any longer, I want you to slowly close your eyelids over your eyes. Close your eyelids over your eyes. Close your eyes and let your eyes relax. You can let your head fall forward gently if you'd like, or keep it still. The choice is up to you. Now I want you to just very gently listen to my words, to focus on the words that I'm saying while still feeling incredibly relaxed. You are in a state of hypnosis, which feels like a very, very good relaxation. I want you to follow along with some deep breathing techniques with me. This time, we're going to inhale for the count of 5, hold for the count of 6, and exhale for the count of 7. Okay. I want you to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. be reading you a selection of affirmations in order to help you sleep and help prevent any nightmares. So just listen as I very softly say these words to you. You are feeling more and more sleepy. Your thoughts flow lightly and gently. You feel at ease. You feel calm. Your body feels tired. Your mind feels relaxed. You can rest easily. You can sleep without worry. You can relax fully. You will be able to sleep peacefully. You are feeling more and more sleepy. Your thoughts flow lightly and gently. You feel at ease. You feel calm. Your body feels tired. Your mind feels relaxed. You can rest easily. You can sleep without worry. You can relax fully. You will be able to sleep peacefully. You are feeling more and more sleepy. Your thoughts flow lightly and gently. You feel at ease. You feel calm. Your body feels tired. Your mind feels relaxed. You can rest easily. You can sleep without worry. You can relax fully. You can sleep peacefully. Keep breathing deeply. Keep letting your thoughts flow as they may, without shoving them out, just letting them slowly drift across your mind until you gently fall asleep. I will stay here with you to keep the bad dreams at bay. I will stay